Brian, electric season of The Bachelor so far.
The Bachelor.
We had a nice episode Monday night. 5 hours of programming this week. It's going to be fantastic.
I gotta be honest, I have all the Bachelors on DVR. I've yet to watch any of them. I've taken my talents to watching AGT.
AGT, Champions Edition.
The Champions Edition. I'm waiting for Shin Lim to come back and mix some
sleight
magic.
of hand.
Yeah.
I like when they bring the contestants from all the different countries. You get to see what their talents are.
You get to see all the
Some
different
more
stuff. I'm also a big fan of MTV Siesta Key.
Siesta Key. I was a Jersey Shore guy myself. Have not checked out Siesta Key.
They're still airing it. They're still coming back with family vacations and stuff like that.
They
It's
just
ridiculous.
keep bringing it back?
Yeah. So, but first, course in session. That was so goofy.
I don't know how long we want us to do it for.
Good afternoon, Temple Hoops fanatics. Welcome into another week of Courts in Session. That is Addison Hunsicker. I am Brian Steinmetz, and it's finally February, which means two things. Number one, we are 1 month away from March, and number two, January is finally gone, and with it, took the men's team losing streak, Addison.
That's right, Brian. Aaron McKee's squad ended its 4-game losing streak on Saturday with a win against ECU, and the women went down to the wire versus UCF at McGonigal Hall, improving to 5-3 in conference and continuing their push for tournament play.
Absolutely. Tournament play would certainly be nice for both teams, but unfortunately, at least for the men, that might not be too realistic. You see, but let's start with the women who are still fighting to go dancing in March. The team sat at 4-3 in conference play before last Wednesday's home matchup against the UCF Golden Knights. Let's take a look at how that went down. Big key in this one was the three-point shot. Temple made 9, UCF only made 3. Another big stat, the rebounds. Temple out-rebounded the Golden Knights by 11. Those second chance points are huge in a tight game like this. 18 Temple turnovers. They overcame that surprisingly enough. Final score 67-65. Temple improves to 5-3 in conference play.
I thought down the stretch, we obviously have to be a little bit smarter, but we found a way to pull another game that's close, pull it out at home. But I'm proud of my kids, how they stepped up again against a team that's really, really physical. And I don't remember the last time we beat them, so we got the monkey off our back with that. But again, I'm super proud of how we came out today.
Another close win indeed for Tanya Cardoza and company. If you see Coach and she looks tired, that's because her crew seems to make just about every game exciting. Temple's last 5 games have been decided by 5 points or less. The Owls are 3-2 in that 5-game span and 6-3 overall in games decided by 5 points or less. Now, Brian, last year Temple went 0-4 in 5-point games. What's been the difference this year?
This team is gritty. I love to see it. Every game dating back to, I believe it was December when they took on LaSalle, was a 5-point game except for 2 of the games. So it was really important to see them win these close games. It's great for their confidence.
Yeah, I think it's a product of this year. 4 of your 5 primary starters are not seniors. So that means last year they were a young squad. Mia Davis, a junior, Marissa Mackins, Ashley Jones are sophomores. If you got primary players who don't have experience playing close games, you're not going to get the results you wanted, which happened this year. But now, if they've had more experience to gel together, you're seeing the wins pay off.
It's going to see this team grow. You mentioned the team being young. Even next year, they'll have a lot of these players back, and it's going to show in their confidence and their resiliency down the stretch next season as well.
And even this year, if you're looking to make a push for tournament play, the NCAA tournament could still be a possibility. Definitely the women's NIT. There's a reason why you see on the men's side the freshman-heavy teams don't win in March. You need experience to win in March, and this year they've gotten more experience for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, 2020 has not treated the men's team well. Prior to last Saturday's matchup against ECU, the Owls were 1-7 in the new decade and found themselves sitting at 10-10 as the ECU Pirates made the trip up north to the Liacouras Center. Aaron McKee talking to his squad there. The difference in this one, as opposed to previous games we mentioned last week, the stagnant offense, wasn't really much ball movement, especially against Penn. Against ECU, though, the Owls had 16 assists. They moved the ball well, and they generated open looks off of their passing. They shot 48.9% from the field and 40% from 3, which feeds off the assist point. You're going to shoot better from the field if you're going to get open looks. The on and off ball movement was better, which led to more efficient shots. And the one big thing, too, is they never let up in the second half. Once Temple took the lead with 17:55 remaining, ECU never climbed back to tie the game. The Owls outscored ECU 46-32 in the second half. Final score in this one, 76-64. Now, Brian, I know a big thing with the men's team is not making it back to the NCAA tournament like they did last year, unable to build off their last year with Fran Dunphy. Does the ECU game really matter, and what do you see for them looking ahead?
Simply put, no. It does not matter whatsoever. A friend of mine once told me a long time ago, a blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while. Listen, the team was up 16 in the first half, but they gave up a 20-4 run. You can't be doing that if you expect to make any runs towards any tournament.
And if you're looking ahead at their upcoming games, you got at Memphis, home against Villanova, at Wichita State. Those are three of the toughest games of the season. You could go winless in those 3 games, and with the way the season is going, you're just looking to add more losses to the resume. Now, with the Nova game, they do have a chance to clinch a share of the Big Five title with Penn and Nova. That's really the only glimpse of hope that you could see from any of these upcoming games. Absolutely. I mean, that'll be tough indeed, but I can't see it happening whatsoever. No, not at all. But the men do take on Memphis down in Tennessee in a Wednesday night showdown, while the women have Wichita State over at McGonigal Hall. And on Saturday, the men are home against SMU, while the women travel down to sunny South Florida to take on the Bulls. Now, we mentioned the difference in 2019 and 2020, and all of that lies in the shooting. Shooting. It was a question mark entering the season, and it has been the main problem for the Owls in 21 games into their campaign. We mentioned earlier 2020 not being kind to Temple, and the record and shooting numbers speak for themselves. Nearly a 10-point drop-off in points per game relative to 2019, and a decline in field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and three-pointers made and attempted per game. Temple is shooting 32.8% overall as a team. Alani Moore and Devondre Perry are the only 2 Owls shooting above 40% from beyond the arc, while J.P. Mormon, Quentin Rose, Monty Scott, and Nate Pierre-Louis are all shooting 30% or less. If you can't shoot the 3 well, you're going to have trouble winning in today's game, and the Owls have certainly struggled to do both this season. 3-point shot, Addison. It's very important in today's game. It's a lot more crucial than it was, say, 2010, 5 years ago. No, it certainly is, Brian, and that'll do it all for this episode of Courts in Session. Be sure to follow us on social media at OwlSports Update for all things Temple Athletics. For Brian Steinmetz, I'm Addison Hunsiker. We'll see you next Wednesday. Here we go. A lot better. Definitely needs better energy too. Yeah, oh my God, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Yeah. I thought we did well.